If you didn't see the last episode, or maybe you forgot what happened, the fact that most of my facilities are completely empty should sort of clue you in as to how horrible of a day we had. Oh boy, it was a mess. So today is a bit of a build day. I'm working on restocking some lobotomy points and hiring new little ones. Now, the other thing I was noticing as I was going through and taking inventory and figuring out who's still alive, there's a weird noise in the background, in the menu screen. I enhanced it. I zoomed in on the noise and made it clearer, and I realized exactly what it is. Listen. Do you hear that? That is the sound of water droplets. I might be reaching a touch, but you notice anything strange when I go near Bloodbath? That's right. It's the same sound. So what possibly could be the tie between the main menu and the Bloodbath and whatever? I don't know. But I plan on finding out. So today, not only is it a rebuild, I've read through the comments in the last episode. Thank you, everyone, for all of the amazing, helpful tips. I really enjoy those a lot because they help a ton. But I also read through and I saw which abnormalities people want us to read. So I'll be reading some of those today. So today will be a bit of a slower one. I'm sorry for anyone who was looking for some high-paced action and me dealing with abnormalities. Unfortunately, I'm gonna basically just be reading and trying my best not to get got, and maybe even probably having a meltdown or two, just trying to get this time limit done. Now, the other thing, like I always do, I want to show you the abnormalities that we have now, which the new ones are a strange shark that apparently likes candy. That's what I was told. It likes grape, I think it said. And this strange bird. I don't think it's a bird. Everything that pretends to be a bird is not a bird, so I'm assuming it's not. But, whatever it is, I'll figure it out eventually. Or Haru will, at least. And I figured the best place to start is right here with the Bloodbath. Because this is the weirdest one, and it's tied somehow to the main menu, or at least the management menu. So, we're looking at a bathtub full of blood, apparently. Now, I can only sort of guess what happened here because of the name of all of the gifts and the weapons and suits. But that's just a random guess. I won't know the truth until I read. Okay, here we go. My best reading voice. Maybe. An abnormality which contains the pain of all those who couldn't take their sorrow in stride. Already starting off great because apparently it is true. I hate that. A bath of a gloomy color topped up with blood. The blood is always kept in equilibrium. It never overflows. Only despair can be found in its sunken depths. Unbearable depression overwhelms all who look into the bath. In an instant, it can pull a nearby person into it. It bears no considerable strength, but those who suffer from its crushing depression do not resist. It devours the victim until nothing remains except for their wrists. All the hands which float in the bath are pale, exsanguinated. They stretch into the air and reach out as if asking for help. It is no easy feat to cut one's wrist with a sane mind. A strong will is needed with the resolve to make multiple attempts. Only when it is sliced, as if one were simply cutting a mere slab of meat, can they achieve this. Only when one yearns for death that much can they succeed. Okay, I'm gonna have to put some warnings with this one, because apparently we're getting into some gruesome details. I thought that we might be getting there, and I've been trying to avoid talking about all of this, but I guess at the end of the day, this stuff happens, and like I've always tried to do before, I never skirt around mental health issues. So, this is the moment I'm going to pause, stop, and talk about it a little bit. I will continue reading. It's probably going to be like 30 seconds or so. But I just want to say, anyone who's considering this or is in a bad place, I want to reach out and I want to say, you're not alone. There are people who are willing to help. And I've had other videos devoted to this. And I don't want to take too much time right now just because I'm in the middle of reading a description for this one abnormality. But I know it's important, so I wanted to pause and I wanted to say, take care of yourselves, okay? Especially since I know that sometimes talking about these things bring up those feelings. So if you're not comfortable with this, I'm sorry. And just please skip ahead, because I never want to make anyone feel uncomfortable, especially if they're going through some things right now. But I will continue now, as it is part of the description. And hopefully I remember to put the warning up ahead of time. That way, if you have those feelings, you can move past this section. I digress. I will continue now. I eternally regret not realizing to ask her why she needed that industrial knife. I eternally regret not realizing that she was hiding her wrists with long sleeves. I eternally regret not realizing that she always took extra care to hide them whenever I spoke with her. I eternally regret not realizing that I never heard her cheerful laughter anymore, and that she roamed around the company with lifeless eyes more and more often. I can't even imagine how painful it would be to cut your wrist. I found out that the only reason she could manage to do something like that was she cut hers straight through. We always popped open a bottle of wine every time we succeeded. It became one of our customs. She told us that it only takes one slight misstep to fall into indifferent habit if we get too used to success. Thus, we should always smile, rejoice, and celebrate every little thing in the wake of success. And we should never neglect failure, as success can be born from a pile of failures. When I saw the lattice work of scars on her wrist, I was reminded of our wine cabinet. We had used up so many bottles. There was only one left. That day, I popped the cork off the last one. What? Okay, let's unpack this a little bit. So, it seems like possibly Bloodbath was one of the first of the abnormalities, if I had to guess. And the reason I say this, stick with me here, this is a bit of a leap. It's one of the easier ones to interact with. It does white damage, which is psychological damage. If there was something out there that was like tearing people apart, they would have taken notice of those things. This feels like a monumental kind of moment in these people's lives. It also kind of sort of sounds like, I don't know who's writing this description, but my guess is it's either one of the agents or possibly A themselves, whoever started all of this. And that's kind of worrisome. And it's worrisome because of the fact that when I talk to Angela, things are getting like so cryptic about A and who A might be, or was, or is, or whatever happened. Because Angela kind of sort of hinted that A might not even be around anymore. And I'm not talking like a trip. They said a trip before. But Angela has been kind of dropping little nuggets along the way, suggesting A may never come back, which sounds like they're gone. And Angela might have had a part in that. The only reason I say that is there's a lot of spooky stuff going on. I could totally see this as like a Frankenstein's monster sort of situation. A created Angela because they lost someone. They lost someone to a self-got. That's how I'm going to phrase it, because I know I can't really talk too much about this, but they got themselves. They were gone. And I think A kind of lost their mind because of this. Realized that this bathtub may or may not be possessed. It may not be a ghost, but it does possess a lot of power, a lot of pain. And because of that, they created Angela. And I think Angela looks just like, or is designed to look just like this person. Honestly, it's kind of sad. It sounds like a horrible situation. They were definitely depressed. They were definitely upset. They were hiding this. And eventually they went through with it all the way, which is horrible for many reasons. As far as the story goes, they popped this last bottle of wine, knowing that this would be the last one. And the reason why it's the last one is without them, there would be no more successes. It's only failures from this moment forward. That's very symbolic. That's very incredible. This is, with this one description, it's kind of it's painting an entire story. Because when I asked in the beginning, when I thought about it, what the heck makes Angela the perfect specimen of beauty? Why do they let us kind of do what we want? They hide these terrifying things from us and show them as like a cartoony environment. Why do they give us all of this power when we aren't special? We aren't. And I think the answer to that is this is either a simulation that's designed to help A, the person who went through all of this, either designed by themselves or someone else to help them get through this time in their life. Or it could be that this is a visualization exercise in which they're trying to piece together what went wrong in their life, and that's what each of the abnormalities represent, is moments in their life. You know, these are just all theories. I'm not sure. But I think Angela is representative of the person that was lost. I think this is the last bottle because they'll never refill the wine cabinet because there will never ever be a success again. That portion of their life has been ripped out of them because of this loss. And they feel almost like they're to blame because they didn't notice. Which, I mean, that happens. People blame themselves for these things, even if they know that there was no way they could stop this from happening. And that in and of itself is painful and kind of an awful experience to go through too, on top of also the loss. So I can understand why they would feel that way, why they would feel like there would never be another success. Boy, there's so much that I could try to glean from this. I think I've read enough of this one. Let's move on a bit and see if the other ones start to piece it together. So I wanted to start with the Bloodbath, and hands down, this was the one everybody said, hey, you gotta read Bloodbath. It's gonna give you all sorts of insight, and it has. It really has. So this is either some sort of simulation where the abnormalities are representations of the different aspect of the person's psyche, or maybe a portion of their life that they're kind of remembering, and this is how they kind of view it, as these cartoony characters, which are all horrible things. So which is exactly how someone would feel in this situation. Even their view of their grandma is very passive. No harm is ever done, but they feel trapped in their presence. And that just screams someone who feels like they're out of control right now, don't know what to do or how they should handle things. And the punishing bird, and which would be representative of someone's life, aspect of someone's life that is completely out of their control. And if they ignore it, it goes away. So whether this is a simulation or just a visualization, I think this is representative of somebody's mind. And it kind of shows that because there's a network, everything is interconnected. And even in the main screen, like the loading screen is a good example of this. Everything has like a line connected to it, like the neurons in their brain. Boy, that's crazy. Okay, again, this is all just speculation, but the next thing people wanted me to read is The Bird. So I'm going to read The Bird. Hopefully it will just build on what we are already learning. A small and confident bird that punishes the evil, guilty, and all sorts of irreverent people. Some employees have said that it is cute when the bird mightily flutters its tiny wings. People have been committing sins since long ago. Why do they commit sins knowing it's wrong? The small bird wondered. It might be because there's no one to punish people for their misdeeds. If someone takes that role, then no foul act would happen in this world ever again. With this in mind, the little bird left the forest it had been living in and never went back. See, even that kind of is representative of their mindset. Someone who's had a great loss and has felt like they have been wronged. I can tell you I felt like this before. With just little things, like someone cut in front of us in line one time, or like cuts me off in traffic. You know, we've all had that feeling. I'll simplify it a little bit. This may be too simple, but hasn't everyone experienced that feeling like the only reason this person is doing this is because they've never been punched in the face before? And then I take a deep breath and I realize, no, one, they're not going to learn from it, and two, that's just going to mess up my life. So no sense in doing it. We've all had that moment of like, oh, I'm going to smack the smile off of your face, and maybe that will actually show you that the world is not what you think it is. Again, I digress. But this kind of just shows this is part of the mindset. I'm thinking this is all a massive metaphor. And I know most games kind of are, and we can get into like the psychological or metaphysical aspect of games some other time. I'm not sure if people would be super bored by that one or not, but I do love the fact that this story is kind of piecing together little blocks of information that will help us figure out the entire story. And they're hiding it right in plain sight. This is the fact that it's small and confident kind of goes to show something too, that this is a small aspect of their life. This is something that, even though it's small and confident, it's fleeting. These moments of, I need to punish these people in order for them to learn from this. Which is a good thing, because otherwise you turn into Batman and you just go on a spree of assaulting people in order to try to teach them better. As much as I love the idea of a Batman, we don't need someone dressed as in like a costume punching people in the face. I love Batman a lot, but at the same time, we don't need one in real life. They would quickly be arrested. I saw Void Dream was one, so let's check out Void Dream. I wish to sleep eternally, so don't bother trying to wake me up again. An abnormality whose form sports a goat's fur and horn. It is not unique in regards to its appearance, with the exception of several colorful eyes embedded upon its body. Gaining information about this abnormality is expected to be difficult due to its ceaseless slumber. The following counseling log illustrates how Void Dream's ability to make any person slumber psychologically affects the employees. The results indicate that we cannot utilize this ability to reduce the mental corruption of our staff. Please refer to this record for further research. Vincent begins. Please make it quick. I gotta sleep. Their counselor responds. Is that because of the abnormality? Yeah, I remember seeing something that looked like a sheep pass by me. And, well, I fell asleep. Since then, I've been like this. Do you remember the dream you had back when that occurred? Oh, I could never forget that dream. Could you please tell me as much as you can about it? It was a happy, wonderful, sweet dream. That's all the words I need to describe it. Heck, I even felt glad to be working for this company. And I saw a guy who's not with me anymore. He was right next to me. The rest of the statement is omitted. Because of that, I couldn't get a hold on myself when I woke up. I see. I've heard a little about you from the other employees recently. All of them say that the only thing you do outside of work hours is sleep. Could you please tell me why? Don't you understand what I'm talking about? I just want to have that dream again. That dream where I was with them, recalling those happy moments. But I couldn't go back. No matter how many times I slept and slept and slept and slept. And yet, I see. Okay. I'd advise you to take some rest in your room. They said everyone who woke up after hearing the abnormality sound went mad. People think it's because they all had a horrible nightmare. They couldn't handle it. But it's actually the other way around. The reality they had to wake up to was so terrible that the soul gave up on the waking life. As you know, time flows differently in dreams. A mere instant of waking life constitutes an eternity in the dream world. Maybe if Void Dream were to put me to sleep once again, then I might just have that wonderful dream anew. I'll prescribe some sleep medicine. I assure you that it'll help you sleep. Please get some rest for now. Finally, you will be prohibited from entering the abnormalities containment unit from now on. A demon must change its shape to deceive others. A demon must grant sweet dreams to deceive others. A crack appears in the human mind when it is shown the dream it yearns for. A demon will never miss this chance to bring one to their doom. Don't say such complicated things. Don't say those scary words. I just want to grant people sweet dreams. Grant them the enrapturing dreams they want. Those who've had my dreams are destined to come back to me. So, just close your eyes. So this is probably part of their coping mechanism, which is very common when someone is feeling down or depressed. Sleeping to escape the harsh reality of the world. And honestly, this whole idea of sleeping in order to dream, a dream of the person you've lost, it ties right in with everything else that we've been seeing so far. So this is pretty fitting. These feelings, they're deep. They are terrifying. Besides how poetic this is, that part is beautiful, but the rest of it is scary. Because if something can manipulate your dreams and manipulate how you feel, because there's sometimes when dreams feel so real, they can have so much power over you. And I know, that was the whole premise behind, what's that movie? Inception. That was the whole premise behind Inception, was that if you can control someone's dream, something that feels so real to them, they can essentially, over a period of a night, have a lifetime of experiences that can actually change them. That's scary to think about. Yes, it says, so Big Bad Wolf, Red Riding Hood. I have a list here I wrote down, so I've just been kind of reading through the list. Let's actually start with Big Bad Wolf. And then we'll go to Red Riding Hood, because it seems like Big Bad Wolf is the monster and Red is the quote-unquote hero. I'm probably going to see that it's reversed, because this game loves doing stuff like that, but either way, it's going to be awesome. So let's start with the Big Bad Wolf. The Big Bad Wolf is an anomaly in the shape of a wolf with sparsely damaged fur. It is bipedal and is capable of communication to some extent. It always attempts to devour employees or breach. Such actions are easily preventable, since it shows obvious signs in behavior and conversation before doing so, making this abnormality fairly easy to manage. The incident of the day of Redacted was an alerting event for many employees. The moment Red Riding Hood ran into the wolf, the situation spiraled out of control. Prevent the two from meeting at all costs, considering the potential damage it may cause. It could be a wise decision to sacrifice a few employees to divert their attention away from each other. He had flesh for the first time in a long while, and its taste was so good. In the corner of his eye, a familiar piece of red cloth stood out from the wardrobe. He may or may not have seen it before, But he didn't really care about it. Since then, it was harder and harder to keep himself in check. Still, it didn't matter to him. After all, he was destined to be a big, bad wolf. There may be lots of stories here, but no story is as disgusting as the wolf's role. It was a sin to be born as a wolf. No one cared about a wolf's name. It was to be called the Big Bad Wolf. All wolves are raised to become giant, ferocious, and hairy monsters. Wolves could not eat other animals, even if they were starving. Wolves could not cross the line when doing bad things, and wolves had to be punished. Wolves always needed to be an example. Wolves could not make friends with anyone. Wow, okay. So this is another aspect of the personality. So this is where they feel like this giant monster, this thing that people hate just for existing. You know, they try to be cute and cuddly like this, but in reality, their inner demons kind of poke through every once in a while. And because of that, they do bad things. But they know that they can't do horrible things because they can't cross the line. This is part of their, expressing all of these horrible feelings that they have. But they know better. They know that if they go too far, people will see them for what they are, which is a giant, hairy monster. An ugly monster, according to the description. Even though they're not. But, again, if we view this as a human brain, that is a common feeling that people have. Oh, you know, I'm ugly, I'm horrible, people will hate me if I do this, or if I act a certain way. I do like that it's a small part of them, though, and they don't see it doesn't encompass all of who they are. Even though every aspect of who they are is kind of being seen as these monstrosities and abnormalities. The fact that they're called abnormalities kind of shows a little bit about that, too. And again, this is me playing into this idea that I'm kind of constructing right now, that this is somebody's coping mechanism. This is their brain. So this all might actually just be a facility. This might just be an energy source. And then this all doesn't really make any sense. But as of right now, with my general understanding of what's kind of happening right now, this feels like that's what this is going for. This is the metaphor. So I'm going to be phrasing all of this until I learn more about the story. And I'm going to be looking at all of this under that guise, under that lens. So we'll see. The counterpart to the wolf. I am a pro. If you make a request, then I might help you. I used to be expensive, but I'll cut you some slack here. Under one condition, hand that dreadful, cunning wolf over to me. If you ever see him, I'll hang his head over my bed. Only then can I get up in the morning without having a nightmare. An imposing abnormality taking the form of a female warrior with a striking red hood. Her frayed hood has initials embroidered on it, unreadable due to the damage the hood has taken. Many patches can be seen on the hood, suggesting that it's been well worn. According to her own claims, she used to be a mercenary before coming to this facility, wandering around without fixed residence. She does not trust others easily, and has an extreme fondness for battle. She is unusually uncomfortable with parts of her face and body being exposed, or looking at a mirror. Other numerous symptoms of paranoia have been observed in her behavior. She has a strong desire to resolve emergency situations when they break out. She calls it a request of some kind. Since this behavior consequently helps management, the company recommended putting it to use depending on the situation. The following contains information that employees of every level should note. However, when she encounters the big bad wolf, the situation will change drastically. She will undergo several psychological transitions, including sudden depersonalization and intermittent explosive disorder. This encounter will lead to serious collateral damage, so it is advised to avoid any case where the two may face each other. Between us, there's no victory to be won. All I think about is how I'll kill that wolf in a way more gruesome and painful than the last. Well, that kind of sort of gives you the age when all of this was starting. The trauma. This is where they decided to be more professional about things. And how, as long as the situation doesn't arise where they feel like the big bad wolf, they feel like a big hairy monster, they can act professional. They can do the job that they've been given. Now, this kind of shows a little bit about the person's backstory, about their childhood, sort of. Because I know, depending on where you are in the world, 15 may not be that young. That may actually be considered an adult to some people in, like, certain portions of the world. But I know where I kind of grow up, 15's really young. So, to, like, expect a 15-year-old to be a total professional and not make mistakes, that kind of is... That's a harsh reality to impose on anyone. I'm much older than 15, and I would totally make mistakes every single day. In fact, every hour, I at least make one mistake. So, that's a daunting task. So, hopefully that wasn't too boring for everyone. I know this one's probably going to be a little bit different, because it's a lot of reading, and not so much of the action. But... now I'm going to try to finish today, and if I can gain some lobotomy points and clear this in the 8:45, I'll be super happy. But there's only really one way of doing that, and that's to be very efficient with all of my movements. This day's been tough, really tough, but I've got it down to the last 52 seconds. We're close, really close to ending the day. Nothing's got out. I've learned a lot. I will show you. But right now, I need to slow things down. This is going to be the longest minute of my life. Come on, we got this. I don't care about the meltdown, just as long as nobody gets out. And whoever gets in here... Isn't this supposed to be Nicole? They're super fast. How are they not there already? Where are they? I might have to skip that one. Oh, I know where Nicole is. Nicole's down here in the bottom. Oh, yeah, I definitely have to skip that one. It's okay. We're only 3 away. Honestly, between these two, that's done already. And the Punishing Bird's always out at this point. I don't even think I get a minus for the lobotomy points for that one. 30 seconds. So I think by the time Haru finishes here, we'll be done. I can understand now why Magical Girl is such a nightmare. Because trying to balance them and their bad behavior and their horrible moods, it kind of sucks. That's it. Okay, get out of there. Done. Now, 7 seconds. Is everyone else done? You're done, you're done, you're done, you're done. That's done. Awesome. No one else is working, because I believe if they're still in there working when I end the day, they get the got. So I want to make sure that I don't do that to anyone. Now, I also have all of Little Red Riding Hood's weapons and their armor. That's Angel's property. I will be giving that to Angel. I really wish... they had the smile. Nox had the smile. Rest in peace, Nox. But I also have all of the weapons and armor for the knight. Chunk, who I still am going to lovingly call Chunk, is now the Little Prince. And I actually have unlocked all of the weapons now. And none of their armor. But their armor is kind of decent, predominantly against white. So I'm not too excited about it, but I am excited to have it eventually. We have the wolf, which we saw in the last episode, but what I'm most excited about is Gary is going to be decked out. They will have the weapon and the armor, and if I can get the helmet, they'll have even more damage. This is going to be amazing. And now that I have an Olaf set, I might actually be able to deal with other Olafs. The other thing I kind of learned, I learned a lot about this bird. It is a phoenix. It heals, but it also attacks. So, I'll start from the beginning. When another abnormality escapes, the Quiplaw counter lowers. When the work result was good, the Quiplaw counter lowers. When the work result was normal, it lowers. When the work result is bad, it goes up. So I've been trying to have bad days with this thing and just send Gary and Haru because they can tank anything. and they're still having good days, which kind of sucks. Everything seems to be common with this thing, so it's not ideal. I don't see where I'm going to be able to go in and use this one a lot, unless maybe their weapon and suit is kind of cool. If it is, I'll totally go with it. We already know everything about the magical girl. They are a mess, but I did manage to get all of the boxes required for their weapon and their suit. So I'm going to have someone suit up, and they'll deal with that one. So I've got a little bit of a better plan, and we've seen quite a bit. Again, this one was a bit of a different day, but we still managed to hopefully achieve a goal. Yes, we did. Nobody got the gut, and we have 24 remaining, 2 promotions. We have an S rank. We read everything. We managed to do a mission. I mean, after the last episode, I consider this like the greatest achievement of rebuilding ever. Now it's time to do what I normally do, which is to figure out which of these menaces we're going to be dealing with in the next episode. So thank you so much for watching this one, and remember to take care and good